we have an amazing topic to talk about today, which is when is enough to retire? Right? When do you have enough money? When do you have enough success? When do you have enough savings? When do you have enough accomplishments? When are things settled enough? So I want to dive into that today because I think that for many of us, you may resonate with this story that I want to share with you. So, for those of you who haven't met me yet, hi, I'm Janet Clark, and we are here on our YouTube channel, The Freedom Shift. And we talk about this shift between focusing on our work and God's work. And what does that look like? And how do we make that shift so that we're no longer just living our life to acquire more things and financial wealth and all of that, but that we're actually now working on acquiring prosperity, a legacy, something that we can leave of value to our future generations. And also life purpose. How do we come to that point where we know that we're actually fulfilling the purpose that God has for us and for our life? So let me share a little story with you today that may resonate with you on this journey, particularly if you've spent the last 20 or 30 years working, either in a job, in a profession, or maybe even you have your own business. When I was in my 50s, I had built what many would consider a very successful life. I had a big family. My 4 sons were launched off into the world, and I had a couple of grandchildren coming along. And I was an entrepreneur at that time. I had a thriving business with monthly recurring revenue coming in the telecommunications space. I had a pretty active social life. I was actually running a gym and teaching all sorts of classes. And I had a whole group of people that we had a lot of commonality and camaraderie going. And I even had a house at the beach. So I had achieved that major bucket list item that I was looking for, which was to be able to have that second home at the beach. And so from the outside, it all looked perfect. But beneath the surface, I was dying inside. And interestingly enough, in spite of all of that, which I could easily look at from one perspective and say, yeah, I've done pretty good, right? I'm at a good place. And there were times when I did say that, but deep down inside, I really felt like a failure. I was constantly thinking that I wasn't successful enough. I wasn't really quite smart enough. I needed a little more education. Things were happening too fast in the tech world, and I was having trouble keeping up with that. I wasn't thin enough. I wasn't in great enough shape. I wasn't really rich enough. I wasn't happy enough. I just didn't feel accomplished enough, or there was still so much more that I could be doing. I didn't know whether I had saved up enough, whether I was safe to think about retiring. And I just felt like I had to continue on this quest for more, more, and more. And let's face it, life was far from perfect. I had a good marriage, but it wasn't a perfect marriage. My kids were they were doing well, but they weren't perfect. My body wasn't perfect. My emotional health wasn't perfect. My business wasn't perfect. And really and truly, none of it measured up to these impossible standards that I had set for myself. And so why do we do that to ourselves? Well, in today's world of social media, it's even worse. And it was early on in the tech times, but I was still knowing what other people were doing. And so it's magnified when we start looking at other people and what they project out into the world. And so on social media, we're supposed to show people how awesome we are, even when we don't necessarily feel that we have it all together on the inside. And the more that we scroll on social media and we see everyone else's carefully curated, successful lives, the more we end up comparing ourselves and feeling that there's something missing. So let me just give you an example. Just this morning, I read, I go on Facebook in the morning and I catch up on what's going on. And here's just some examples of things that I read this morning. Oh, we're living our dream life in Costa Rica. Or, oh, my son just made the All American Sports Hall of Fame. Or, my husband just surprised me with a cruise vacation for our anniversary and we leave in 2 days. My company just made it to the Inc. 500. I earn $70,000 in monthly recurring revenue every single month, and it's just me and a VA. And I don't have to have a website or a funnel, right? You get the gist, right? When you read things like that and they keep hitting you from all sides, right? My kids are perfect. My marriage is perfect. My business is perfect. My life is perfect. You start to really feel like, oh boy, I am not keeping up. And so they all seem to be on easy street and their life seems to be a breeze. And we wonder, like, am I an imposter? Because I could put something out there and say, well, I just achieved this milestone in my business. But I know that even if I put that out there, that's only one little aspect of my life. And it's actually not my crowning moment of glory because I have all these other things going on that maybe aren't so perfect. So I'm sure you get this, right? Where you feel like an imposter sometimes, and you know that whatever you're projecting out into the world is that sort of mentality of fake it till you make it. And so I don't know how you cope with these feelings, but back then, what I did was I drank wine. Like literally at the end of every day, I would just reward myself for working so hard, working out at the gym, leading my spinning classes that I was doing, whatever, right? I would be rewarding myself with that glass of wine, which led to one glass, two glasses, three glasses. It didn't matter. I was drinking wine every single night. And it was, it may not be wine for you. Maybe it's TV. Maybe you're getting lost in Netflix. Maybe it's TikTok where you scroll for hours. Maybe you play video games. Maybe it's gambling. Maybe it's food. But most of us turn to something on the outside to fill this void that we have on the inside. And for me, despite having the big family, the business, running the gym, I just needed something to numb me at the end of the day to give me that feel good feeling. And it came to me, I started to realize this is not good. And so something big happened. And I actually give a lot of credit to God for this, but I found myself on a path of a 12-step program. I decided with my sister that we were going to do something crazy and we were going to go to AA and see what it was all about. And maybe it would help us to stop drinking so much wine. She was on a similar path. And so we discovered this 12-step program. And I will tell you that it really was the best thing that ever happened to me because it shifted my focus from outside to inside. My journey became an internal journey. And I think of this passage from Philippians. It's chapter 3, verse 13. It says, I don't depend on my own strength to accomplish this. However, I do have one compelling focus. I forget all of the past as I fashion my heart to the future instead. And really, what this verse teaches us and what I learned by going in this inner journey is that it's not through our own strength that we get out of whatever situations we're in or get move forward to where we truly want to go. And I now know that what we all want is peace of mind, peace in our world. We all want prosperity, which is, yes, we want to have enough money. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually important, and abundance is promised to us. But prosperity is all more than that, right? It's having all of the things that we need, enough of everything. We have enough success. We have enough money. We have enough food. We have enough exercise. We have enough spiritual time. We have enough friends. It's just enough. That's being prosperous. And so we can't do that on our own. That power comes from God. It comes from within us, but it comes from our divine connection with our Creator. And that was a really important first step in this, was to surrender it all to God and to admit that I was helpless to figure this out on my own, and that whatever I was doing wasn't working. And the second big learning is that we do need to let go of resentments and whatever happened in the past in order to move forward into a future that is fulfilled. Yeah, we are fulfilled, and we do have that peace, prosperity, and purpose in our life. So my journey started, the spiritual journey really started about 15 years ago. And it's been an amazing adventure. Really, like, going inside is an amazing adventure. And it allowed me to come to this moment where I did decide that I could finally retire from my business. And it's been a while getting through that process. But instead of now building a business, God has inspired me to start a movement. And this movement I call the MVP movement, which is mission, vision, and purpose. And really, it's helping others to now be able to come into greater focus on their own mission, vision, and purpose. And to do that through creating greater health, greater wealth, and greater freedom for themselves, which means being able to shift from that working for money, working for somebody else's dream, working to accomplish something that you're not going to take to the grave with you, let's face it. And so let the shift being, let's go work for God. Let's make the world better by bringing God to the forefront of our own lives, and then getting as many people as possible into our movement and putting God in the forefront of their lives, helping them to do that, because we each have to do that on our own. And so the movement is really based on three key principles. The first is connecting with God first and relying on His strength. The second is mentorship, having leaders and mentors within this movement who can help us and support us. The reason I really prospered within my spiritual journey is because I always had a teacher. I always had a mentor. In AA, it was, what do they call it, a sponsor. And then when I went into my next evolution of that was to join a spiritual community where I had a teacher. And then throughout this time, I've always had spiritual mentors and teachers that have guided me. Now I say Jesus is my most important mentor, but I still do look for people who are spiritually ahead of me in this journey. And the third thing is this community, building a community that supports and uplifts each other in faith. So I want to invite you, if it sounds like something you would want to pursue, to come and learn more about it. There's no pressure. This is when you feel ready. This channel is meant to allow people the opportunity to spend some time evaluating where they are in their life and if this is the right time for them to start thinking about moving toward this shift toward retirement. Now, maybe you can't retire right now. We do have a financial component to what we're doing so that people can shift if they do need to make money in retirement. We have what I call our economic engine. But for some people, you probably already have enough and it doesn't require you to have to earn money. And for others, there is that solution. But it starts really with this ability to evaluate where you are now and where you want to go. And so I invite you to come and to learn more about it. On Thursday, I will be hosting a live stream, which will be about this MVP movement and when is enough enough. And I'll be sharing with you more about how it all works, and you can determine whether it resonates with you. And remember, it's never too late really to start living your true purpose. God does have a plan for you. You were put here for a reason. And it's not necessarily to acquire more worldly possessions and to measure yourself up against the success of the world. Deep down, we all know that it's about our soul. It's about the purpose that we have, the legacy that we're here to live. And I heard a good talk this morning when I was on my walk by a priest who was saying there's a big difference between your resume and your eulogy. And I'll talk more about that in another episode because I thought that was really profound, that this list of things that you've accomplished in your life are not the things that people are going to talk about you at your eulogy. And so our focus is that next mountain, right? Like we've done the first worldly things. Now it's the godly things. And that is really where I'm at. And hopefully, if you're listening to this and you feel that calling and say, yes, this is what I want to do, let's talk about how that we can make that happen. So the link for the live stream to register for the live stream is in the description. So click on the description and get it. And if you can't see it there for some reason, or you're listening to this somewhere else, either make a comment below and somebody will get back to you with that, or reach out to me. I'm always available through Facebook Messenger. I'm available also through email. You can email me at thefreedomshift@gmail.com. And I look forward to hearing from you. And I bless your day. And I hope that you do have enough. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye for now.